a bigger one, a couple. I walked and I was just bubbling over and had to tell them.
Exciting.
I wasn't quite sure if it was. Kate
Yeah. That's from the other day.
and my husband.
Steve, nice to meet you. Turning went bad.
Yeah. No. Look at that.
Okay, welcome everyone to the March 2025 Basin Development Review Board meeting. Today we've got one application on. And before we get to that, we have old business that we need to take care of. The first being approval of the minutes from February 4th, 2025. Does anyone have any edits, input, changes they would like to see on the board? Everybody's good with it? Okay. I do hear a motion to approve the February 4th, 2025 minutes from the Development Review
I
Board.
move to approve the minutes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. Okay. Thereafter, we have one application on tonight, and that is application 3927, which is the McGann subdivision. Seeking approval of a minor subdivision. Subdivision of a 17-acre lot into a 10.7 acre lot and a 6.9 acre lot. And also application 3928 requesting conditional use approval for the development on slopes greater than 15%. So, are we just doing sketch plan tonight?
Believe so, because we don't really have a plat to approve.
So, excuse me though, we asked for a waiver to combine, and I understood what we've always done historically. Is the plat comes in within 6 months of the final hearing after you approve the project. We virtually never do a survey before we have these approvals, because it's an expensive item, and why, you know, if something needs to change. Based on this review, and you know, there have been cases where projects are denied. Historically, we haven't provided a plan for this.
We do have a pretty good sketch, but from the plot location map on the ESPAC plan, I think
Right,
they
right,
provided,
right.
it kind of gives them, so if they need to add anything to it. But I think there's gonna be a lot of things fleshed out here tonight.
Let's
from my
find
understanding.
out then, so, okay. Okay, great, so we're doing a sketch plan only tonight.
It's up to them.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as, you know, before we go any further on this, we have on the board have a chance to review the application. Because I think that's kind of our first decision to make, whether we would consider it complete, so that we could do a complete review, or we would just need a sketch plan this evening.
I've got a couple things, Gunnar, looking at the plan. It seems like we're not seeing enough of the lot in relation to where the building is, and I'm particularly interested in seeing the extent of the steep slopes to the south and west of the property, where you're proposing some clearing there, and just to see the extent in general of that, the natural areas that you have on a different map that are mapped by the state. I'd like to see that in relation to where this proposed development is. You show a separate map of that, but that should be included in this map based on some of the
sure, okay.
regs as well. So those two things, in particular, there's a couple little things, questions, but those are my biggest concerns. That we're missing that information. And then how this development would affect those natural areas that the state designates. How they would affect the steep slopes below the downhill from the development as well.
Sure, so I can certainly create a map that has more slope analysis information on it. You do have the entire picture of the whole parcel here and where the structures are in relation to everything.
Yeah,
I don't show on here the habitat block identified on the state map.
yeah,
And they refer to those as habitat blocks as opposed to natural areas, just for the sake of the clarity.
sure.
Yeah, we can do that. So we'll talk about having a sketch plan tonight and we'll come back with more information after we talk about.
Yeah.
whatever else we want to talk about.
And it seems like looking at this map, Gunner, I mean, just to add all that stuff, there's plenty of room on that map. To be able to see that, and then to see the steep slopes in red, I see, we have a slope map, but you see the continuation of this.
Right,
Step
we
down.
generally don't provide that outside of the area that we're going to be developing, but we certainly can, we can add that to the map. Yeah,
But it is proposed cutting out there.
some limited cutting, and we would talk about, the proposal there would have been. Consistent with normal forestry management practices kind of thing, not to go in and try to clear cut anything, but rather to do some selective harvesting.
Yeah.
Consistent with normal forestry management methodology.
Mhm.
Which, when we're doing forestry management, we're not limiting ourselves to the slopes. We're cutting down pretty much. We're looking at the forest and deciding what's best for the forest, not what's best for anything else.
Yeah, but there's limitations on steep
So-
slopes,
There is.
and
for
whether
earth
you leave
disturbance.
stumps and things
Yeah,
like
right.
that.
Oh, there would be no stumpage over there, no stumping outside of the area.
Yeah.
That we're proposing to develop, certainly.
And that's just what we need to see
Just
is,
some cutting out there, so.
yeah,
But I couldn't tell you which tree we're gonna cut, because that's not my fault.
Yeah.
So. But we can, I can bring in the slopes from around there, sure.
that's all I.
Is it possible for someone to orient me to what I'm looking at there? I can see the home. And where's the parking area up on Fen Basin?
Right, yeah, that's
Okay.
it, you got it, Jason, yeah.
The Hunch driveway.
Yeah.
McGann driveway. Proposed driveway. Red is slopes 25% or greater. Yellow's what, 15-24, and green is less than 15.
Correct,
Proposed house site, proposed building envelope. I think there's a spring right in here,
that's the spring serving the existing
and
house,
then there's a well right here, I
that's
think.
proposed for the new house,
Septic's up, right?
yeah, above it.
So where is the existing house?
Right
Yep.
here,
That's it,
Okay.
and there's the old cellar hole.
yeah,
And Mrs. McGann's driveway.
So you said it's a subdivision, there's only one house going in, I thought there were two lots.
there's an existing
Existing
house,
in one.
Oh, okay, then. All right, so it's peeling off some of that to build another house, that's,
correct,
all right.
Can you tell me your name, please?
Oh, Dave Grimison,
Thank you.
you need any more information?
No, I'm just trying to take minutes and
Oh, yeah.
it's hard to do that without.
Sorry, yeah, I should have.
It's okay.
Who I was before I asked.
Well, since we're doing this as a sketch plan, then I guess you can go ahead and start your presentation.
it's reasonably straightforward, you're looking at the entire presentation right there. We're looking at taking a 17-acre lot and putting one more house on it. As you can see from the green, the majority of the development area is quite gentle. The road crosses a steep slope, the driveway rather crosses a steep slope to get onto the site, but the earthwork there is not significant. The septic system would be a mound system, to the west of the house that you're looking at there, northerly, I guess, more than westerly. This is what we do all the time. This is a fairly straightforward and normal presentation for a single lot subdivision. One new lot, I should say. There is a bike trail that currently runs through the property. That will remain there for now.
Could you put the cursor on the bike trail?
The bike trail is there by the good graces of Dorothy McGann, not because there's any type of an easement there for
There's
it.
the,
Say that again.
I'll let Jason find
there's the
it.
current
Yeah, that's the current bike
Here's the
trail.
proposed
It's a
relocation.
possible relocation. We're not relocating it. Dorothy's not going to relocate it. Dorothy's gonna continue to let the bikers use the trail that's there now. As I say, they're using that trail by the good graces of Dorothy McGann, not because there's any easement or anything of that sort. She could go around tomorrow and say, nope, sorry, you're out of here.
Correct.
She's not gonna be doing that. She's agreed not to, and for now, so, yeah, that's about it. There really isn't much to this. There would be some clearing, as we talked about, westerly, I guess, to allow for some sunlight to get in and some views, some solar gain kind of thing. Plus, it's a wooded area that probably should have some culling done to it to improve the quality of the wood stand. The property is directly adjacent to the Green Mountain Forest, of course, which is about a 50,000 acre habitat block. And we're nibbling into less than an acre of that. I'll come up with a number of that for you guys. We can show you exactly what that looks like. But not all of this is within the block. Some of it
It's
is outside
close.
of it already. It's right on the
I
edge.
was looking at it
I
on.
mean, the block runs through this area, certainly. And I'll define that line. It's easy enough to put on.
Sure. Thanks.
I mean, except there's a couple other ways to get into that trail, which accesses the Catamount Trails a little bit farther in. But that access from the end of Fen Basin is by far the most frequently used for bicyclists, for dog walkers, for hikers, for skiers. So it would have a significant, if it were no longer accessible, let's put it that way, it would have a significant impact on the local population that uses it on a regular basis. And I tell you, I use it every day. And every day I see more people, not additional people, but I see other people there. So it's not like, oh yeah, it's there, but nobody uses it. It's like there and everybody uses it. And thank God that we have access to it. And Dorothy, I have a silent prayer thanking her every time I walk past her house. So it's not that it's not appreciated, but its absence would be pretty profound, I think, for a large population.
And I understand that fully. Having said that, that's not a relevant criteria to this discussion.
I'm sorry, can you tell me your name, please?
Larry Constantine?
Thank you.
Connor, question, on this, where is the cul-de-sac at the end of the fence? Is that part of this? Is
It's
that
right, yeah,
what's referred to as the parking area?
right there, yeah. Jason's circling it there.
Question, what's the, one of the concerns I have is the town uses that as a turnaround on the block. And there's a tendency to accumulate more cars than perhaps somebody that's stopped to walk in on the trail. That's going to confound the ability to clear. So if it's a parking area for the properties that are being developed for homes, that's what they're interested in.
Originally, where their proposed driveway's going into this lot, that used to be the only turnaround for the town to turn around, and is where I plow out there, where everybody walks out through and gets mad because I leave a pile of snow they gotta climb over. And over the years, we cleaned the ditches and stuff on the road, and we made the parking a little bigger on Dorothy's side, where the parking area shows here now. And that's where the town turns around now. Before, we used to drive in and back up their driveway and head out.
Right,
And I think there's a culvert there, I don't,
The new house, the driveway to that house is about a little over 250 feet long. There will be, you know, we show a concept, I mean, we're not suggesting whoever builds there is gonna build the rectangle boxes that I'm showing on this plan. They will no doubt hire an architect and they'll have a nice layout done. But that will include parking areas for cars for the new lot.
And that'll be,
And whether folks are gonna, you know, we're not doing anything to impact the existing parking area at the end of Fen Basin that's shown on the blob that Jason was circling there.
I have a question about I know it's outside of our purview, the mound system,
Yeah, sure.
is that unnecessary because of a high water table that's in there?
Yes, basically, the soils were such that, it does appear there's a bit of a high water table. One of the bigger issues, to be blunt, was there's a lot of boulders out there and it was really difficult to dig a hole deep enough to show that we had 6 or 8 feet of good soil. But yeah, so the soils that we did find out there. Oh, I didn't bring the soils information with me, actually, I didn't bring the septic design plan,
Yeah.
as far as those notes go.
It's pretty bony.
It's pretty funny, that is, yeah.
Just curious about the whole, and the impact to groundwater.
Right, that it didn't be conformant with state regulations. We just state permit for it, which is in process, we're,
Yeah, like I said, it's outside our purview here.
right,
Just
sure.
generally about the same.
So where some of that property is pretty mushy, and where does are there actual wetlands there that we need to think about?
There are no wetlands in the area that we're looking
And by the definition of wetlands, it may be mushy, a lot of water.
Correct.
Water, but it's not.
at. Not all wetlands, not all mushy areas are wetlands,
Yeah.
correct, correct.
Got it.
The proposed new property line,
Yes,
it's a bunch of angles here, any particular reason?
yeah, to come up with frontage on the right of way, basically, so we come up, you know, the driveway. Becomes sort of the upper limit of the existing house lot, or I'm sorry, the driveway is a right of way through the existing house lot. In order to meet the town standard of giving the new house frontage on a right of way. That line comes up between lots 1 and 2 and then angles over to the right of way to create that frontage.
Okay. Because, yeah, because the existing driveway is gonna stay the same. I
Yes,
assume.
no change to the existing driveway.
Right, and this is gonna be a brand new driveway going in.
Yep.
what's the, current power distribution, is that?
We'll be proposing underground power and we do show that on the plan. It'll come off a telephone pole.
Okay, so it'll go down under.
Yes, underground power to serve the new lots. That'll be along the edge of the road, so it'll be the same disturbance that the road will create.
Driveway going in.
The driveway, I should say, I say road, driveway.
It's not a road yet.
Go ahead.
Only 2 lots.
Right. Well, this is
Can I
this is a
jump in?
single driveway the whole way.
I will read, because otherwise, who knows, I could go on and on, I guess, but so I typed something up. My name is Kate Hunt. This is my husband, Stephen. We are adjacent landowners. As Dorothy is aware, we have 2 immediate personal concerns about the application. Number 1, we're concerned about the safety of the proposed driveway. If it's approved, there would be a trail and 3 immediately abutting separate driveways entering onto Fen Basin Road. Boom, 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 right next to each other. We've been aware of Dorothy's wish to subdivide for quite some time, and I have studied the visibility through the seasons. And I've looked at it coming down the driveway and also stopped at the end trying to look back through the seasons. Again, we've known about it for a while. I am not always able to see back on the proposed driveway, and in fact, I don't think any of the driveways has good visibility to the other 2. They're all a bit of a problem. Ours obviously goes up, the proposed goes in, Dorothy's goes down. So it's kind of odd. Our second concern is, it's proposed that the existing trail be rerouted along the boundary of the easement defined by our confirmatory deed with Dorothy. This puts it on a steep side hill, parallel to our nicely maintained driveway. The new route would be tough going for everyone, and we're concerned that trail users would find it much easier to simply use our driveway as far as they can before dipping down to the trail. We actually had a near accident on that section of our driveway last fall between a delivery truck and a biker. They nearly collided, had words. The delivery driver was on his way up and told me about it. He was quite shaken about it. We would not feel comfortable allowing trail traffic on our driveway. Thinking more broadly about impacts to the community as a whole, we have asked Dorothy to please make a good faith effort to preserve the path. Dorothy has generously given verbal permission for public access for many decades. And so it's become an integral part of the community. It's amazing the number and kind of people that use the trail daily. We actually had a neighbor stop us just the other day and express her thanks to the landowners who make the path possible. She mentioned how revitalizing it is for her to walk in the woods and expressed a true gratitude for the access. We've had many people tell us how happy they are about the trails there and how unhappy they would be if it were closed. We dearly wish there were a way could be found to keep the trail open to all. And again, we've asked Dorothy to make a good faith effort to please do that. In light of our concerns, we're requesting a couple of things. Can the plan be redesigned so the new lot would share Dorothy's existing driveway instead of creating a new one? And I know about the old foundation there, and I'm wondering, could it be rerouted some way or another? And we're also requesting a site visit in response to our driveway and trail concerns before you take any action on the application.
Where are you located?
Pardon?
North, south, east, west, where's your property?
It's up here.
We're east of Dorothy's property.
Northeast.
Yeah.
Can I have a question just about process? So I started talking about the use of the trail for recreation, and your response was that's irrelevant. So what is relevant? Is it exclusively geographic? Geologic?
I'm not sure I understand the
So
question.
in other words, is it a function of the steepness of the bank, the presence or absence of wetlands, the amount of flat space? And it has nothing to do with the community's perception of the subdivision. In other words, community members have no say in subjective things, like we don't like the way it looks, we don't like the way it'll interfere with our use of the trail, whatever it is.
Right.
Do we have no say?
There are the town has an approved set of land use regulations. And the project has been designed to be consistent with those regulations. Certainly I understand the trail issues, and I think everybody would love to see the trail stay open. But again, that's not, it's there because of Dorothy's good graces, not because there's an easement, not because there's a community right to use the trail. Yeah.
And as of right now, Dorothy's still open to letting the trail be used.
Yes, she has no intention of changing anything. She'll sell this lot someday, presumably, or someone else will own it someday. The Hunts are aware, certainly the rest of you may not be. Dorothy's 93 years old.
98.
98 years old, all right. I thought she told me she was 93, but whatever. In remarkably good health for a woman of her age. She, lives in New Jersey. She comes up here in the summer for a period of time every year. Yeah,
Did you say she was 98?
that's what, I thought she was 93. Kate said she was
Okay,
98.
I want to make sure.
I believe she's 98.
OLD.
Yeah, she's OLD, there you go, right.
Okay.
She's gonna outlive most of the people at the table, I can tell you that right now.
Right, Dan.
Yes, my name's Dave Grimison, and I'm one of the people that use the trails. I live on Mad River View around the corner. And when you see Dorothy the next time, give her my thanks, because I knew it was, private property and she was letting people use it. And I would hope we can find an accommodation to keep that trail open, whatever it is. I'm not opposed to subdivision. That's, I have a house, someone else wants a house. But it would be nice if that could be stayed open in a reasonably hiking area. And in a perfect world, that it was memorialized in that, yes, you will have access, because Dorothy is kind of old, from what I understand, in that, you know, the next owner might not be as generous. So I'm just putting that on the table, and, it would be, yeah, that's what I'm putting on the table.
Yeah, I mean, the notion that she's done it out of her good graces. Totally appreciated, respected. Her good graces aren't gonna last that much longer. And having something in writing. That she puts down on paper that as we move this property forward, we wanna maintain the. Access to the trail from Fen Basin. That would be, that would be good, that would be concrete, and it doesn't require her to remember that she actually said it when she's. 102.
The trail actually traverses a portion of our land as well.
And there's no reason any of that either.
That's correct.
Where does it hit you guys? Just curious. Out beyond, out further out? Okay.
It's significantly smaller than Dorothy's farm.
Yeah,
Well, I guess I owe you guys thanks too.
Was that trail there before you guys?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Dorothy had some responsibility for allowing that trail some 50, 60 years ago.
Mhm.
I actually worried it might be a problem. I wasn't sure I was thrilled about it, but it's been wonderful. There have been no issues. It's been great.
And if there was the possibility of some written understanding that it would be made accessible. I think there could also be a written understanding on the other hand, that we would be able to find funding to maintain it. And either we use the Mad River Riders, or there are other options, local people that would be willing to put some money into it to maintain the trail.
Again, we have asked Dorothy to make a best faith effort to preserve the trail. I hope that will be observed.
There is a new proposed trail there. There's a new proposed trail.
well, that's a potential location. We're not, I'm just saying, if I show that to show that, you know, if anybody looks at this, they're gonna say, well. The development area pretty much takes out the trail. What I'm showing is only that. The trail could go uphill if needed to go uphill. Whether that would be the best route for it, I have not looked. Certainly, you know, it's not going straight up the hill. It's traversing the hill and. The bike trails I have been on, and I'm not a avid biker. But the ones in the woods, there's a lot of steep areas, not unusual. To have those bike trails going over steeper areas.
I would clarify that it is a side hill. It's not an up and down hill. It's very much of a side hill. I don't think it's a great place for a trail.
30 degrees, please, right? Did you mention, do you know the slope?
25.
It's over 25%.
Yeah.
We measure in percents, not degrees,
Okay,
typically,
well.
just for clarity, but. But yeah, the trails, you know, Dorothy has pretty much agreed to not move the trail or not change anything. But I can't speak to in perpetuity.
Right.
I mean, as soon as Dorothy sells that lot, it's out of her hands.
Pretty much.
You discussed the trail. Has she made any indication that she would be open to keeping it? Or, you know, to,
I can ask her again. I don't know that she would be open to providing an easement because I believe. The input that she's gotten relative to that would suggest that that could very much negatively affect the retail value of the lot.
I would
Does the
expect it
state-
would.
You know, so if. You know, the bike group wants to get together and buy the lot, well, there's a way to do it, you know, that would probably be a good way.
I
to-
wonder if she'd be open
Sure.
to negotiating in the time that something like that might be.
I can't speak to her on that for those issues.
But you could be looking at a situation where 10, 15 years, you'd be looking at two property owners and both of them would have to create some sort of easement for it, because. If you can't get through the current lot to get to the new lot, then,
And the Hunts don't want going up their driveway,
yeah.
so,
Pardon? I didn't hear.
and you don't want it going up your driveway.
No, we don't.
So you want it all on Dorothy's side because you don't want it on your land.
Do you
So
think it would make sense for it to go up our driveway then?
you know, if you parked at the bottom and rode up your driveway and then turned onto your land and skirted across the bottom of it, I don't see why that would be significantly different than what they're doing now.
Because this goes through the woods, this would be on our driveway, we'd have bikes, we'd have,
Well, they'd still be parking at the bottom. 'cause
They
that's
would be
where
parking
everyone
in the
takes their
same
car,
place, yes.
but, you know. And yeah, they'd go up 200 feet up your driveway to turn onto the trail. They, they originally, in fact, Dorothy told the story, and I'll try to get this right, but she was rather flabbergasted. At one point, they were outside having a barbecue and 15 or 20 bikers came riding right through her driveway. And she's like, wait a minute, I'm okay with bikers, but I don't want you right here in my backyard when I'm out here having a barbecue.
They missed the trail going.
So I don't think it existed at that point. I think this was in the early days.
this was from 40 years ago.
And then the trail got moved, up the hill to where it is now, but it wasn't going right down Dorothy's driveway. But she didn't want it going right by, and who would, right? You're out there having a family barbecue and you ever heard a biker going by all of a sudden? That's not,
Yeah.
the Hunts don't want it, Dorothy didn't
Bring
want
the
it.
trail,
Yeah, if you're going out of the woods,
and just bring
you
it
can
up
make
here.
that mistake. Stay a little bit to the right, don't make the left-hand turn, because I did it once, and I ended up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want it there.
Didn't do that again. I have
So-
another question for the design review. Is there any, other situations that you've encountered that have been like this? Someone subdividing land and they wanted to maintain, a right of way through it, and it was going up for a subdivision? Is there any presence for that situation? Have you encountered this situation before?
No, this isn't really a town, this is more of a private property.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Than a
that's
town
exactly what
matter.
it means. Someone subdividing a piece of property that people have been using for years, taking a trail, and there was a resolution that came out of it. I'm just asking that.
But I can tell you, there is something like that. Last place we lived had a couple of acre parcel that was next to ours. The people that we bought our house from wanted to hold on to that. In order to get to that parcel, they had to come up through somebody else's property. And they had a permanent easement, added to that, to their deed with the other owners in order to be able to sell that piece of property. So I know it does happen,
But it's complicated.
It's not a town issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Community issue.
All right, okay.
We are a community.
Yeah.
There are concerns here that, we're here, which are well understood.
Gunnar, you're proposing the trail is going to share the end of the new driveway?
I'm not proposing anything.
If that's what's on the map, though?
Yeah, that's one option. I'm not proposing it, okay? I'm not suggesting we should move the trail. Dorothy has agreed that she will not move the trail. And she will not, she's agreed to that already. I think you're aware of that. Other than that, it's a trail on private property and that's it, end of story. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, I don't.
no, I understand. It's
To
a,
be very clear, and that's important.
yeah,
You're not mixing words.
It's her decision.
It's her decision, right? And it is relevant to the value of the land and the value of the property.
so the purpose of this meeting is to approve it or not approve it?
Is to hear out the applicant and hear everyone else that's interested in and go through the application, and then make a decision. A decision's not gonna be made today.
Right. But still, if the community input really doesn't influence the final decision, because it's gonna be based on survey.
Well, it's gonna be based on the existing ordinances of the town of Facein.
Well, right, compliance with the ordinance
Right.
and the ability to use the land appropriately. Okay,
It sounds like that if we want permanent access, we'd have to approach Dorothy and say, can we memorialize this legally? That's the way it has to happen. This design review board has.
It's
no-
one way that I know of. I don't.
Correct.
I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know all the ins and outs of that.
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
there's also this really nice couple that's taking the house for the winter. And they're in their like probably late 40s. They really love it. I think I should start pushing them to buy it.
It's the existing trail, this is just a side note. And the proposed house and the existing trail, I wouldn't want that trail there.
No, right,
Right.
no.
I was thinking about on the low side, coming off where the driveway starts, they go to that, if they went out above the cellar hole and went out below, I don't know what the contour is, I don't know, stuff to get back, it's pretty steep, ain't it?
Yeah, that wouldn't, I don't believe that would be acceptable to Dorothy either.
So if you go to the cellar hole, you're right in front of her house.
Yeah, that, I felt awkward when I made the wrong turn there and went, calling these holes.
Yeah, I've always been, there isn't a little arrow sign there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they got that.
If I might add a comment here, I'm Andrew Tenney. I'm also an adjacent landowner of this Dorothy's property along with the Hunts. And I guess getting back to the land use regulations and a little away from just the passion that we all share for this trail, which I second all of my neighbors' thoughts that they've mentioned. There is in the general standards for the subdivision of land in the land use regulations, the number one section under the general standards is the character of the land and preserving the character of the land. And it seems kind of vague as to what constitutes the actual character of the land. But I think my most substantive objection to this project would be based on alteration of the character of the land of the neighborhood, which I and my partner and I chose to make our home. And I don't know, Jason, if you could speak on how the character of the land is assessed and or deemed to be preserved, and how that fits in with this subdivision proposal.
I'm not gonna answer to how I'm not the applicant.
I'll speak to that a little
Okay.
bit, if you'd like. When you're looking at a zoning ordinance and you're looking at phrases like character of the area, character of the land, those types of things, I have always held that you can only really interpret that to mean the character of the area is what the zoning ordinance allows, not what is on the ground today. Because if you interpret it to be it's what's on the ground today, then you could not do subdivisions almost anywhere. So the character of the land has to be defined by what the zoning ordinance allows. And the zoning ordinance allows for significantly more intense development than what is being proposed here. So, I mean, it's 1 acre zoning out here, okay? This land couldn't support 1 acre lots, no way. But that's what the zoning ordinance would allow for out here. So if this were a gentler piece of land that had a few more attributes than what it has, it could easily be subdivided into multiple lots. There's 17 acres there. As it is, this is a very modest proposal. So that's anyway, that's my take on the character of the area, the character of the land.
Okay. Thank you.
It's rural residential, it's housing. And even if you're basing it on what's there right now,
The
It's-
proposals for a single family residence.
yes,
and-
it's
Which is
what
what's out
surrounds
there
it.
now,
There's,
yeah.
you would even, if I was making the legal argument, that's what I make, it's like, well, even if you made it a broader definition. It would still fit, and I don't think that's really too much of a stretch. You're not, putting a factory or a hog building or something like that out there. So it's well within it, and
Not putting in a 10-unit apartment building or anything like that.
Yeah.
Single family residence, which is within the character of the area.
Gunnar, did you find that it's simply not practical to carve off this lot on the south side of Dorothy's property?
Yes, I did. I looked at that. That's where Dorothy wanted it to start with. I did look there. That area, of getting off the road is very challenging because of the slope. More importantly, it's wet. And it just did not look suitable, really, for what we were proposing there. So,
When you say it's wet, what do you mean? That like when you? Cause
and
it's
it
on,
just, I've been looking, I've walked enough land over the years.
You see a lot of hemlock.
Yeah, that section, I didn't like it. I didn't
I
think
think
it
it
was
would be
appropriate.
mushy, not wetland.
It's a wet area, it's a wet area, but not a class 1 or 2 wet.
It's not, no, it's not mapped as a wetland, certainly. We didn't have a biologist look at that
There's-
section. Yeah, it's,
There's at least 4 or 5 surface streams in between our dwelling and Dorothy's. We're on the southern or the southwestern side. It's wet, very wet.
Well, I mean, it sounds like one of the things that's being implied is that, yeah, it maybe end up being subdivided and maybe we don't get a chance to have something formal written by Dorothy about the trail. But we're not gonna find anybody who's gonna wanna buy that land and build a house on it because of the challenges that are inherent in the location of the property.
If they're a biker, they might like it.
But that,
If they're a biker, they might like
yeah,
it.
that's true.
this is as development sites go, this one's fairly standard and easy. This
It
is
is,
not
huh?
a challenging
It is.
one.
Darn.
Okay, this isn't, you know, this is not, you know, we had one built in Warren this year that it was 2,000 feet of driveway going up the hillside, uphill the whole way. To what's gonna end up being a heck of a nice house, of course, but no, this is not a challenging one.
Gunnar, the cistern is gonna stay in use where it is,
Yes, Dorothy was adamant that the springs stay,
and that's right next to the driveway.
and yeah, which is fine, the driveway's downhill, but you know, the water doesn't flow uphill. So that's fine, and you know, we'll need to protect the pipe going under the driveway, there's no sun there relative to that, or at least on the water sewer plant. So yeah, she was adamant about retaining that spring, though, that was her,
That's why she's 98 years old.
she tells a lot of stories about that spring and her whole getting here in the 50s, and she has a lot to talk about. Very interesting woman.
No, Kate's a little concerned about how that's coming on to the intersection of her road. There's a telephone pole right there.
Yep.
Is there any way you could move the driveway down towards Dorothy so it's more like a shared to both?
I can take a look to see if I can slide it down a little, I don't wanna go too far.
And then would be kind of straight with,
Yeah, I can take a look at that.
I mean, I think there was a culvert there too somewhere.
I think you all know it already, or you probably know it, Mike, but the actual town road ends before this, right? If you're looking at that map,
Yeah, and then before the turnaround,
it ends before the turnaround is not within the town road right of way.
it's on Dorothy's property.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's on and the Hunts have a right of way going by there as well, so, but yeah, it's on Dorothy's land.
The town's plowing their property
Yeah,
Yep.
for free?
no, she pays taxes.
For the good of the community.
Yes.
The town had requested it and Dorothy accommodated that many years ago.
Yeah, gotta turn the plow around somewhere.
Yeah,
Well, everybody was parking in the road, you get down there with a dump truck and we couldn't turn around
You have to back out.
and, two times to tell the record, I don't.
Holy cars.
But Gunnar, it sounded like you were just answering that by suggesting moving the new driveway down slightly. What's the problem with combining it with Dorothy's existing driveway, sharing that
Because
driveway?
that puts the traffic right by Dorothy's house. Basically.
We have a concern with it being literally a foot away from our driveway and a foot away from Dorothy's on the other side, and we have no visibility to traffic going in and out of it.
But we'll take a look at that and see, Steve, but it's. You know, I could move it maybe a little bit downhill to be a little more shared with what Dorothy's got there, so it's more like one curb cut on hers and two. But we can't put the whole thing down her driveway, that would be inappropriate. For her existing house. And yeah, it would make both her existing house and the new lot worth a lot less to have that type of situation going on.
Is it doable to do that? In other words, you could do that because, you know, I think the other thing would be one less driveway cut to do that.
No, we can't do it, we can't run it down her driveway.
You cannot.
No, it would, and I would wonder if her driveway wouldn't be too steep to meet the ordinance anyway.
Pretty steep now.
Hers is pretty steep now, yeah, and we're not looking to
Like,
change
when I
it.
plow down there, I lose my plow. I don't know if I ran over it or.
Right.
Then it pops back up.
Right, there you go. And we could also look at doing a little earthwork around the corner to improve the sight distances there. Just gives it, you know. Not that challenging in a lot of cases to make those fixes. Maybe challenging to tell the snowbanks out there, and I haven't been out there. You know, recently to see what the snowbanks look like, those may be difficult to
They're
tell.
creaking.
We do have, you know, we do have mapping work that we did that should help me figure that out. So.
Any other individuals that would like to speak tonight? No. Let's close this.
I have a couple
We'll
of
continue-
questions.
Yeah, we're gonna continue the application to the next meeting that's, when it's ready. I'm assuming the next one. So
Yeah, we'll get-
continue this application. Finish up for the evening discussions of the schedule.
I got a couple questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you have any, am I missing like erosion and sediment?
It's on there, it's on there.
Where is it?
It's,
I mean, there's a sheet that comes with. You know, the standard details, bells and whistles, driveway
I see
profile.
it up below, I don't see it
Details.
below the house. I guess it's my concern. This is all driveway and
Oh,
whatnot. Downhill from the house, I didn't see any.
well, that would be this runway here, this number 4, that's a silt fence to run all the way along this side of things. Which is, again, a standard program for something of this nature.
Yeah. Oh, I might have been looking at the other map. That didn't have that on there. You had 2 different maps, so maybe I was looking at the other.
Well, we had this one.
They
we
just
added.
updated the map plan, but the measures and all that are.
The BPSC stuff stayed the same, we added, you know, what we submitted the ad, Jason had a couple of comments, say, hey, why don't you add like underground power? There's a couple of little things.
Limits of
Limits of
disturbance,
disturbance,
tree lines,
tree line,
stuff like that.
underground power,
Mhm.
so we added that information into here. And that's the second map, but that did not change any of the erosion protection sediment control issues.
And then that 4 references something on that. then?
Yeah. Right over here. Silt fence number 4.
Oh,
over
gotcha,
there,
okay.
right, so.
And then also Gunnar, the limits of disturbance in the proposed tree line, they kind of. You have, like, why isn't this out further where your proposed tree line is, they're not consistent.
Well, you don't always disturb everything right up to the edge of the trees, and when you cut the trees, you don't always stump it. I can move that out there a little bit, Guy, and have that
Well,
more
I'm just,
consistent.
for clarification, I was
Yeah.
just curious why,
Sure. I get maybe.
why, I mean, there's disturbance shown outside of what you have as a.
I'll adjust the limits of disturbance so that that's not an issue.
Where do we stand with our request for a site visit to look at the proximity of the 3 driveways?
I mean, if that's desired, we can, I kind of trying to think.
Like this time of year, we're not gonna get, we're really probably only gonna be able to really do around the driveway, we won't be able to go through, I mean, not gonna see much for all the snow on the ground, snowpack and everything. But we can look at driveways, I guess.
Yeah. And since, I mean, since we're doing that, should we do interested parties tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So all we'll do, we're gonna skip this step. Tend to do that. What individuals here would like to be listed formally as interested parties in this application? Okay, so we would. Yes.
I'm an interested party. Andrew Tenney.
So basically, the people that are here.
Everyone that participated is,
Yeah, yeah,
With that,
everyone that participated is automatically.
but at least we have it on the record.
List of those
That we-
who want to be an interested party.
sure, yeah, I'm an interested party.
That's-
But
I mean, anything for a party.
I will say that's how it's always, that's how you've been doing it, but I never called Shane out on it, although I wanted to more than once. The actual, if you wanna look at the legality of it. An interested party needs to have a particularized interest that's relevant to the LUR
And participate.
and participate in the hearing. So I'm not going to oppose any of it. But arguably, folks who are only interested in the bike path issue probably should not be granted party status. Because it's not a particularized interest that's relevant to the ordinance. But I'm not opposing anything, I'm just, I wanted to call Shane out on this forever, he used to just, before the hearing started, he'd grant party status to people that was wrong.
I agree to some extent, although we've seen. Certain people. Become interested parties that weren't even abutters, and it was solely based upon.
Well,
the
there's
fact-
ways around that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no, I just, in general, you should open that door pretty wide, you shouldn't try
Yeah.
to limit public participation.
And the environmental court, if it goes that,
Yeah,
they're
they're
gonna
gonna-
make their own judgment.
Yeah,
anyway.
they're gonna say what they want.
Me and George learned that.
Yeah, I just figured- There you go. The other part should go up here. Right there.
So do I hear the motion to continue the applications to the next meeting?
Date, time certain?
I'll move.
I'll second.
We're continuing the variance here, site
Is that
visit.
right, Dave?
Yeah, no. Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Uninterested parties.
Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. The applications are continued.
I don't know when they wanna do this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
guess we need to, we'll.
depends on how deep you wanna get into the weeds, but yes.
No.
Like I said, in general, I would always agree that
I'll continue the hearing.
we should allow public
Come
participation.
back, but
not
I'll
try
put
to
it
keep
again.
people out.
Yeah.
But,
Technically, bike path. We don't really have any jurisdiction over that.
right,
It's
it's
not,
not,
there's no
it's
legal
not-
document saying that it is a trail or.
correct, it's not relevant to the discussion, really.
It's there for de minimis recreational use.
Next meeting's on April Fool's Day.
Oh, boy.
But they were being requested to visit the site prior to the next hearing date.
Sure, I'm saying.
And are we, yeah, and what's the scope of what, I know you want us to look at the driveways. I don't think we're gonna get much else out of the land right now, regardless, I mean, scope and all
I would
that.
agree.
We could see visuals coming out of driveways and things like that.
Next
For
hearing in May.
view and view shed. Is the question.
Give it time to,
Settle down and see what the heck we got.
it's a possibility.
That'd be an issue, you're gonna,
I didn't hear
in
what,
May,
right?
instead of doing it in April, can we do it in May, the next hearing?
That would be pushing it out pretty far.
They were hoping to skip this sketch plan
I mean,
review.
so I mean, I just, for what it's worth too, I'm out of town. The 8th to the 21st, like the 8th Saturday coming up for 2 weeks. So if we were gonna do this, I was gonna suggest the last week of March. And I think you folks would agree, it's always better to do it close to the hearing. As far as it being fresh in folks' minds and stuff. Of course, by then.
Hopefully the snow settles, I don't wanna go out and snowshoot.
Actually, think that went through by April 1st, the clocks go back this week.
Yes.
the days are getting longer anyway. To do it at 5 o'clock on the first or something like that might be a good way to approach this.
We're gonna lose a little snow melt tomorrow.
Yeah, with some snow, who knows? We're definitely gonna lose some in the next couple of days, whether more comes back or not, we don't, that's what we don't know, right? We don't have that.
April 23rd, one year, we got 2 feet.
Yeah, right, who knows? Right?
Yeah.
That's it. We don't have that crystal. ball.
We could be knee deep in mud or thigh deep in snow, who knows?
Right, right.
Yeah, that's what you guys.
The trail is used by Vast also, is it not?
No.
I do not believe that is a vast trail. No, it is not. It's not, actually, it's not. It's a trail through the woods. I don't go to cut a tree. They just wind it around.
Years ago, this used to come out over by the beaver pond. It's been based, and then once the state ended up with that land, they more or less kicked us all out of
Okay,
there.
over this, yes, I mean.
No, I think this trail here used to go out there, and now it doesn't.
Yeah, they
It goes
blocked off that.
Are you looking at having the meeting? on
That's right.
People
The
still
first
run
is
the
our
trail,
next scheduled deal.
But it's not, the trail isn't obvious.
Trying to.
Before that, yeah.
The trail is actually maintained by both the Mad River Riders and the state of Vermont.
Just day of. Day of or day
Well, I don't
before.
have any problems with the last week, March. What else?
I'm fine with that too, I guess.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So. 5 o'clock on the first, is that what we're saying?
I'm here, sure.
Yeah.
We're into, you're in April?
Works for me, yeah, April 1st.
Just remember the DRB is just up there to observe the conditions. They're not gonna be there to take any testimony or anything like that. They're just there to observe the land and see and compare it to the site plan. And then come back here and testimony could be taken again.
So 5 o'clock on April 1st at the site. Is that right?
Correct.
And anybody wants to hike it in between?
Pardon?
And then if anybody wants to hike it in between now and then.
I will bring my dog.
Call the UPS guys.
Yeah, I think that they took the picture, and I can't find them.
Yeah,
I think that's where it tells us.
yeah. Great, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
You go on a trip, guy?
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you guys pretty good on golf carts down there. I heard a lot about it, but it's kinda cool. Sounds like fun. Like it's big. It's got, like,
Like 150,000 people.
Yeah.
You guys ever-
Nobody knows. Completely self-contained, and the public can come there too, I mean, there's, there's public streets on it.
You love going down there?
They build it, they build golf carts. Promote it.
Yeah.
But there's, I don't know, there's like 42 executive golf courses, the monthly hit, I think, is like going down.